It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer, and as versus battles go, this has got me the most excited. Aldi, as a supermarket in the UK, have got a habit of producing like a fake Brewdog Punk IPA or a fake Proper Job, their own version, or lots of different lagers that they produce that mimic. They look very much like mainstream lagers, and I like Aldi for that. It's quite cheeky. But when I seen this, and I went to great lengths to find this beer, unfortunately, the big Cardiff branch of Aldi, or the two Aldi branches in Cardiff, we don't have one in Barry, don't supply this beer. So I'm wondering, and I would love your comments in the comments box, is this an England only beer? Or England, maybe Scotland, maybe just England? So I was visiting my brother-in-law, who coincidentally lives next door to an Aldi, just last week in Salisbury in the UK. And I made an effort to go into Aldi whilst I was there on a fly-in visit to see if they had this beer. The beer I'm talking about, they did have it, is Aldi's specially selected London Porter, 4.5% ABV with dark ale written across the bottom. And what I like about this, that it is like the cheeky red post box there. Of course, if you're talking about London Porters, a lot of people will think of Fuller's London Porter. The difference is the Aldi version is £1.49. The Fuller's version in Waitrose is £2.20. The Fuller's version is 5.4% ABV. The Aldi version is 4.5% ABV. 5.4% for the Fuller's, 4.5% for the Aldi. I probably got it right, but I sounded like I got the kind of pricing wrong again. Or not the pricing, the ABV. Right, specially selected for Aldi, Fuller's Griffin Brewery bottle cap there. So first of all, I'm going to open up the Aldi version. It's been produced by Shepherd Neame. That's an interesting one. Shepherd Neame, Britain's oldest brewer, founded in 1698. Here we go. A little bit of smoke on the bottle opening. So the Aldi version is going to go in the Wensleydale Brewery glass. So the initial pour sees a 1 to 2 finger, slightly off-white head. It is indeed a jet black beer in the glass. Good levels of slow-moving carbonation rolling up the side of the glass there. Looking very good. Looks a little bit thin, if I'm completely honest, but we'll be able to drink some of the beer and swirl it around in a moment. So that's the initial look of the beer. I'm going to put them together so I don't get mixed up. And now we're going to open up the Fuller's beer. Now the Fuller's beer, I had to travel to Waitrose, which was another 9 miles away. So this beer review is probably like 250 miles like distance, picking these two beers up. Nice bit of smoke on the bottle opening. Now my Craft Republic glass has etching on the bottom. The Wensleydale Brewery glass doesn't. But I wanted to put them in similar size goblets. So what you might find here is that the Fuller's beer might pour out with more carbonation initially. And there you go, you can see it. So you can see with the beer straight away, it's a tighter head from Fuller's. It's a darker, creamier, richer looking head from Fuller's. It's the same jet black beer in the glass, but the beer looks to have a little bit more body. And the body comes from the percentage, if you like. The Fuller's beer is nearly 1% more than the Aldi stroke Shepherd Neame version. And you can see that because when you want to add ABV to a beer, when you want the beer to be stronger, you need to add more malt to create more sugar, for the yeast to eat more of that sugar to turn it into alcohol. So by adding more malt, you're adding more body. Okay. The reason why I said initially with the London Porter from Aldi is that it did look like the head wanted to dissipate quite quickly. So we're going to bump the head back up with a little bit of a rigorous pour there. And now we're going to do aroma. So let's do the aroma of the London Porter from Aldi. Smells lovely. A little bit of pipe tobacco smoke, a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of caramel. It has that classic Shepherd Neame slight tinniness, slight metallic taste to it, aroma to it. Aroma on the Fuller's. You can see with the Fuller's beer, it's kept his head much better. Much more chocolate malt. A lot more chocolate malt here. You get that similar pipe tobacco smoke, but it's not just pipe tobacco smoke. It's rich, it's velvety, there's chocolate coming through. A little bit of sweet caramel. So the nose of the beer goes to Fuller's. Let's dive into the Shepherd Neame beer. The Aldi London Porter, I should call it. It's all right, actually. Now, bear in mind, it's about 71 pence a bottle in difference between the Waitrose Fuller's London Porter and the Aldi Shepherd Neame London Porter. There's a 70 pence difference, 71 pence difference in each bottle. And I've been to beer festivals and I've been to SEBA events where you talk to breweries. And I remember having a conversation about the sleeve on the neck. Can you remember when breweries used to put like a plastic sleeve on the neck of the bottle and it used to cost a penny a bottle? I remember one brewer who was using the sleeve telling another brewer that it was 1 pence per bottle. And you could see the man who didn't have the sleeve on his bottle wincing. Absolutely wincing, like, oh, a penny a bottle extra to have this sleeve on the neck. So the reason why I mention this is, can you imagine now a difference, a swing of not just 1 pence, but 71 pence? That's an awful lot of money in brewing. That's an awful lot of ingredients per bottle. 71 pence is massive in brewing. So you're going to taste it. A little bit of caramel, a little bit of pipe tobacco smoke. It's chocolatey, it's rich. There's some dark, bitter coffee flavours coming through. It's a bit thin, it's a bit watery. It probably needs a little bit more body. But again, that's your 71 pence coming through. It's drinkable. It's quite a refreshing porter, actually. Kind of reminds me of a dry Irish stout. It's got nice levels of carbonation. It's a pretty decent beer for the money. But how does it compare to Fuller's? So the difference here, the price swing is 71 pence. You can see the difference already. A creamier, rich head on the beer. It looks to have a lot more body just by swirling the beer around in the glass. A fantastic aroma. Let's dive in. It's not night and day. The difference is not night and day, but it definitely has more of a rich, creamy complexity to it. A rich, creamier body to it. Pardon me. There's a bit more... I got the January snuffles out here in this conservatory. There's a bit more chocolate malt coming through. There's a bit more caramel coming through. It's not just pipe tobacco smoke and bitterness. It's more rounded. It's more balanced. There's a balance between the sweetness, the bitterness. You can really tell the difference between the two beers. But, and here's the but, there's a big difference between shopping in Aldi and shopping in Waitrose. There's a massive, massive difference. We used to have a Waitrose here in Palmerston Estate in Barry, and it used to do okay. It used to do okay. There was a few people in there, but they opened it in a working class area of Barry, and it lasted about 6 years and then the place closed. Whereas the working class people of Barry generally shop in Lidl and Aldi, and you see these places thriving, absolutely thriving. Equally, when I drove down to Cowbridge, which is like, it's built on a Roman road, the A48, it's got a lot of history, the housing is worth an absolute fortune down there. They've got a little Waitrose tucked in an estate round the back of the high street there, and the place is absolutely jam-packed all of the time. All of the time. So when they opened Cowbridge Waitrose, Barry Waitrose unfortunately closed. And that's the difference really. The difference really between the two is 71 pence. And that's just on one product. If you imagine walking around Waitrose, picking up everything that's, I don't know, like a third more in price, then you're going to be paying a third more on your shopping bill. And not everybody can afford that. The point I'm trying to make here is the Aldi beer drinkable? And is it worth £1.50? I'm going to say a resounding yes. Yes, the Aldi London Porter brewed by Shepherd Neame. You can see the difference. You can see the lacing on the glass. On the Fuller's beer, you can see probably the thinness and the lack of lacing on the Aldi beer, but it's still drinkable. It's still relatively good. It's a refreshing porter. I would buy it again. I'm an Aldi shopper myself. I'm a Lidl shopper myself. I live in Barry. If I lived in Cowbridge and I had a £500,000 house, then maybe then I would shop in Waitrose. But I don't shop in Waitrose. I like the beer. I'm not going to mess about. I much prefer to be tasting the Fuller's London Porter compared to the Aldi London Porter. But in terms of price point, what you can afford, I suppose the Aldi beer is drinkable. It's refreshing. It's porter-like. If you've got a little bit more money, then maybe indulge in a Fuller's London Porter. So I'm going to rate it, and this annoys some people, but it has to happen. I know it annoys some people because you tell me in the comments box, but there's such a massive price swing here that I have to take that into consideration. You can't just like go, right, I'm not going to take price into consideration, because Fuller's have got the affordability to add more quality ingredients to their beer. So I'm going to rate the Aldi beer, the Aldi London Porter. Would I buy it again? Well, if it was in Cardiff, definitely. The Aldi beer for me. Aldi London Porter. It's a little bit metallic. It's a little bit thin. But it tastes like a porter. There's plum flavours. There's a little bit of pipe tobacco smoke coming through. It's bitter. There's a little bit of sweetness. There's enough there. There's enough there. For £1.49, I'm going to say this beer is a 7 out of 10. A 7 out of 10. Fuller's London Porter. I mean, look at it. Owned by Asahi. Asahi have thankfully left Fuller's alone to brew their beer at the highest of quality. They're a great brewer. They've even put on the bottle, they're not ashamed to say, the world's finest porter, you know? Rich, dark and complex. Porter more or less built London. That's another story. Have a Google of London porters, and the actual London porter was a man who, because there was no room for horse-drawn carriages and electric vehicles, automobiles and all those kind of things, they had little men, or maybe not even little men, they had men running around with sack trucks, running around the little lanes of London, and they were called porters. And the porters used to work that hard that they needed something to, almost like an energy drink, if you like, back in the day, to revitalise themselves and put a lot of energy back into their bodies. And that came from this beer. Porter breweries in London used to be, out of 10 breweries, 8 breweries were porter breweries. It was a massive thing back in the day. But anyway, rating for Fuller's London Porter. The reason why I just said that was because they've got a man there holding up the sign, Fuller's London Porter, on his own. And it's a sign of strength. Rating. It really is a delicious porter. Fuller's London Porter. It's a beer that, if I was passing Waitrose and I popped in, then I would probably pick up a couple of bottles and enjoy it on a Saturday night, sitting in front of the fire with the fire roaring and a nice Fuller's Porter in my hand. It screams quality at you. But you've got to be able to afford that quality. That's why I'm trying to balance this between the price points. You've got to be able to afford that quality. You don't want to be like putting your bag of sprouts back or putting your bag of potatoes back out on the shelves of Waitrose just to pick up a Fuller's London Porter, do you? And that's just not economical. You want to be able to maybe go into Aldi and pick up the bag of potatoes and the bottle of London Porter. I do like the Fuller's London Porter. I do think it's worth £2.20. I do like it. I like it a lot. I like it enough to give it a Stone & Crow's 9 out of 10. It's a 9 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. I have that little bit of luxury that I like. And I think everybody likes. And I think everybody deserves. I suppose this review is reflecting in the times we're in. 2022, 2023. Everybody's going through this cost of living thing, especially in the UK. And times are quite hard. But I've given my rating. 9 for the Fullers, 9 out of 10. And 7 out of 10 for the Shepherd Neame Aldi London Porter. I've given a really descriptive rundown on these beers. Please put your comments in the comments box. Tell me if you wanted the video shorter. Tell me if I've covered all the bases. But thank you very much for watching. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.